The bus went off without the lady because a drunken homeless guy stole a ticket. So she went to the random youth in the hood and she made a bargain with him and she got the hood and walked off. To the house where there's a posh guy stood at the door who wobbles sideways precariously to let her in. When she goes in, she gets shouted at by the housekeeper. Because of the way the guy treated her, she slammed the door and its little pebble fell off the roof and hit a guy in the head, and he wondered what the hell's going on, so the girl came in and hit the pebble. Then she went over to the house where there was a boy stood at the door and the door was planked up, and she said, "Hey, can you let me in the house?" And he said, "Hey, if you can knock down that freaky looking mask over there on the stage." So she gets the stone out and she throws it at the freaky looking mask, which for some reason dislodges a pole, and the boy's like, "Alright, I'll let you in if you do some other shiz first." So she takes the mask and combines it with the hood to make the freaky hood mask thing, and she goes back and scares the bejeebers out of that guy who was stood at the door and goes in and nicks the key. She goes back to the old house and finds the boy's not there and there's a bit of wood missing from over the door, so she reaches in and unlocks the door from the inside, where a rat runs away from her through the fireplace and appears out of a cauldron. Then for some reason it lands on the bed and the bed flips and the rat falls through the roof and hits the floor and dies. So she non-specifically picks up the dead rat and she takes it round the back of the house, and then for some reason there's a dog there when she tries to open the door, and the dog confronts her, so she throws the dead rat for the dog and the dog goes and fetches. So she goes in through the back door, and then there's this guy there and he's like, "Wow, you scared the bejeebers out of me," and he runs away and he locks the front door, and for some reason the back door also locks without him even being there. So she figures, hey, I may as well take the mask off, so she takes the mask off and she looks around and she thinks, "Oh, there's a crossbow, I'll have a look at the crossbow." So she touches the crossbow and it opens a panel revealing a wolf mask. For some reason opens a door in the back of the fireplace, so she climbs out through it and pulls down a thingy which reveals a book with a magic spell in it. For some reason this magic spell can make invisible blocks disappear, so she goes back to the house and casts on a magic spell on the fireplace, and suddenly the spell breaks and she climbs through the fireplace to find a cauldron. But she doesn't have a ladle, so she figures, hey, why not go to the candy store and see if they got a ladle. So non-specifically she puts on the wolf mask and goes to the candy store, and she sees a girl there and the girl screams and faints. So she tries to steal a bottle of alcohol when suddenly a trapdoor opens leading to non-specifically some place underground. So she goes underground to check it out, and there's a ladle and some magic blocks. So she casts a spell on the magic blocks, but the door won't budge, so she picks up the ladle and she goes back to the house with the cauldron and she mixes up the contents of the cauldron. And she gets the dynamite when she goes back down underground and she blows off the door of the cage, and da-na-na-na, she gets the bus ticket. So she goes back to the bus where the homeless guys got off but kindly left the case for her, so she gets back on the bus, which evidently crashes into a building. The end. Your mama never loved you and she dresses you funny.